Welcome, friends, to this series of learning containers and Kubernetes. So, in the last lecture, we created one MySQL container image, and when we forcefully stopped and killed that particular container, we saw that the data inside that container got lost. Now, we need to mitigate the risk of losing the data from this particular container. Now, in this particular lecture, we will see how we can map the volume so that in database servers specifically, we can preserve the data. Whenever the container gets killed or the container got crashed, we can still able to preserve the data without affecting the database. So let's see how we can do that. So this is our Docker VM where we actually created the MySQL Server database container. And this is our Cloud Shell where we actually connected the MySQL server that is actually running from the VM instance through the container. And here, right now, we have connected to this particular database. And if we create a particular database called my database, and if we create some table, say T1, and we can, we need to switch the database. So use database, use MyDB. And if we create the table and if we try to insert some data, insert into T1 values 1, and then maybe we can insert 2. And if we try to select the table from T1, we can see that these two values are inserted. And if we go ahead and force this particular Docker container by specifying -f MySQL server, and if we try to up the same Docker command to run the container once again, and if we say select, it's definitely saying that it's not connected. But if we still try to reconnect the server, and maybe it will take some time, and then once we do that, we can, if we try to use the same database, MyDB, we see that this database got, it is saying that the database is no longer existing. So in order to mitigate this particular risk, what we will do, we will create actual file system by specifying mkdir. Maybe we can create a directory named /data. And if we go inside the data /data, there is nothing right now. And let's remove this particular MySQL Server Docker container. And right now, we don't have any Docker container is running. And we have just created the /data as the file system. And we are going to use the /data in host machine. The particular directory is on host machine /data. And we are going to use this /data to preserve the data, whatever is going to be written in this particular MySQL database server, it will be actually being preserved in /data file system. So this is what we are going to do right now through volume mapping. And in order to do the volume map, we need to use the same MySQL Server command for running the container, but specifying -v to volume map. So if we say slash data, that is going to be our host machine volume, which is going to be mapped with containers actual database file system. Now, before moving to the part where we are going to which particular file system we're going to use in the container, inside the container, let's move to this official Docker Hub page where the MySQL community posts the image called MySQL. That is what we had discussed in the earlier lecture. And if you have missed that lecture, maybe you can just go back and watch that video once again. Now, in this particular page, hub.docker.com/my_/MySQL, if you scroll below, if you can find place where you can see that where to store data. So there you can see that /var/leaves/MySQL is a place where the container actually uses to store the data inside the container. So if we try to copy this particular location and let's go over there in the command prompt, and if we paste this particular file system over here. So what it is going to do, we're going to specify that Docker, please use containers file system /var/leaves/MySQL to map with host/data file system, so that whatever is written inside the container in this particular file system, that will be automatically copied into /data. So if we do so, let's start this container. And if we go inside our Cloud Shell, and if we go ahead and say clear and run the same command to connect to MySQL, so it will take some time. And now it is connected. Now, if we try to create the database with the same command, so first we need to create the database. So create database MyDB. Yes, there it is. And now use the database MyDB. And I'm just going to use the same command so that you will be comfortable that whatever the command we used, we are keeping the same commands so that we can show that whatever we are going to create inside the container and the values that we are going to insert it in the table are going to be preserved. So if we say select asterisks from T1, it will show the two rows are there. Now, if we go to this VM and if we do the same thing like docker rm-f MySQL server, and again we are going to run the same command, and at this moment, again, if we go and say exit in the Cloud Shell, and maybe it will take some time, and I'm going to use the same command to connect to the MySQL server. And now, if I say show databases, I can see this MyDB is still there, and we can use the MyDB to connect to the database. And if I say select asterisk from T1, I can see the data is actually preserved. And if we go to this particular directory /data, this time we see that lots of files are there. These are basically the data and the configuration that we used in the MyDB data. So this is how we have seen that how we can preserve the data, and we no need to worry about the container and its runtime. Doesn't matter whether it gets killed or it gets stopped or whatever its states is. We are be assured that the data is preserved until this file system is valid and not got corrupted. Our data is safe. So thanks for watching this video, friends. And in the upcoming lecture, we will see how we can correlate and MySQL database server with Nginx, and we can try to build a real-time application and try to host it from the container. So thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next lecture. Till then, bye and be stay safe. Thank you. Bye.